Please stay seated. Thank you.
you. All right. We got a great backdrop this morning. This is really good. It's great to be back in Brevard County. It's great to be here with you, and we're going to have a great bill signing today, which is really, really significant, and it's just yet one of many other things that we've been able to do this year, and we've got more to come. Before I get into some of that, I want to welcome the folks that we have with us today. We have our Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie. Hopefully you won't be seeing him on TV this hurricane season, but we'll see. Jacqueline McLaughlin is a mother of 3 and a small business owner. Jeremiah Gonda is a father of 10, and they're all here, and he's a small business owner. We have Senators Mayfield and Wright. We have Representatives Soroy, Brackett, Tremont, and McLean, and I want to thank them for their role in helping deliver this piece of legislation here today. Before I talk about some of this, they've come out with, they come out with these things, and it is what it is, but Florida yet again was ranked #1 for parent empowerment when it comes to education. And we're very proud of that because we've stood up for the rights of parents to direct the education upbringing of their kids, making sure parents have a role in knowing what's being taught in their kids' schools, and then school choice, empowering parents to choose the best school possible regardless of income. So we were able to do that. I think we've been #1 most years in that since I've been governor, but I think that's a confirmation that we're standing for parents and children. And then there was another thing I started seeing this morning, U.S. News, Florida #1 in education, and you could tell like they didn't want to admit that. It was like, oh, well, they've been controversial in education, and yet the data is very clear that we're #1. Part of the reason and when the media says you do things that are controversial, that just means you do things that they don't like. It doesn't mean it's actually controversial, because what we're doing, the vast majority of people know, is common sense, but that's just kind of how they cloak it. But maybe part of the reason we are #1 in education is because we've been willing to take on those fights and win those fights on behalf of the people of this state. And that's whether it's making sure that our elementary schools aren't indoctrinating kids, whether it's making sure that we don't have some of the nonsense in history class where they distort history. Maybe it's because we're actually focusing on education rather than indoctrination that we're able to do so much better. And so we're proud of that, and we're going to continue to do it. And we've done a lot in terms of some of the bills I've signed with respect to education already. We got more stuff coming down the pike in the budget, but we're proud of that. And notice also with higher education, you weren't allowed to take over university campuses in Florida with your nonsense. That does not fly here. So we're going to keep doing that. Now, here we're going to talk about tax relief for Floridians and for Florida families. And it's important to do that, partially because we run big budget surpluses in Florida. The federal government, they had like $1 trillion in new debt every 100 days, every 150 days. We're running big budget surpluses and actually paying down states' debt. So you have the national debt has skyrocketed, particularly in the last 10 years. In Florida, if you take our entire debt from the entire history of Florida, we've reduced it by over 25% just since I've been governor. I got a friend of mine that's a U.S. congressman. He's very smart, MIT. So he created the national debt clock that they have in like New York City, where it's constantly being rung up, and he made it so that you had one he can wear on his jacket pocket, and it's like GPS and Bluetooth, and so it's constantly updating it. He charges it, all this stuff, and so he brought me one. And gave me one, and I looked at it, I'm like, it's nice, but would you mind doing a debt clock for the state of Florida? Because it would be a lot different. Instead of counting up, that debt clock would be counting down. Imagine that. So we have done that. And we, in the budget that I haven't signed the budget yet, but we're going to have, I think, another $500 million as part of our accelerated debt repayment program. So we're going to retire even more debt, and only if it's advantageous for us, because sometimes not paying it off right away is smarter, depending. So only if it makes sense. But we're going to do that, and you're going to continue to see the debt decline in the state of Florida. And since since I've been governor, we have the lowest per capita state debt in the entire United States. It's I think if and this would never happen, so just like, but if somehow the state of Florida just sent you a bill for your share of the state of Florida's debt, I think it's about $600 per Floridian. If the federal government were to send you a bill for your share of the federal debt as an individual American, I think you'd owe over $100,000 to do that. So it's night and day in terms of what we're dealing with here. So we've been able to do that. We're proud of that. But as we've been paying down debt, we've also done really key investments that are important. We just did another big thing for the Indian River Lagoon restoration, and to continue that, which is really important. We've done Everglades. We've done things for Southwest Florida, mitigate red tide for the Gulf Coast communities. We've done things for blue-green algae. We've done really serious investments and improved Florida's infrastructure, particularly water infrastructure, in ways nobody thought was possible. We also, in terms of education, are running the best. We have all this school choice. They said, oh, you're not going to give schools money. And we have more funding than we've ever had in the state of Florida per pupil. We've also increased teacher salaries by billions of dollars since I've been governor, and this budget continues to do that, and we'll be highlighting that in the very near future. And then infrastructure. We've got all these people moving here. And, some states just beg people to move to their state. We don't do that. I mean, it's a free country, but they're coming because they know it's a better quality of life and it's better governed. And so that just means that whatever it looks like on the roads, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're going to have to plan for this. So we saw that. We already have places throughout Florida, particularly Central Florida, where there's bottlenecks. So we have put in $5 billion to accelerate projects in addition to what we're already doing. So we're moving projects up that weren't even supposed to start until next decade. We're starting them now, and you're going to end up completing these 7 to 15 years ahead of schedule. That's a lot of time saving people to sit in very bad traffic. So on infrastructure, we've been doing really, really well. And yet, with that, you're going to see a budget that is basically similar to last year's. We're not increasing spending overall. But when you're running big budget surpluses, you've got to be able to return some of that back to the taxpayers. And so that's what we've done, and that's what we're doing here today with our tax relief package. First, we have already started part of this, the toll relief. So we're doing another $500 million in toll relief. So all of our commuters this started on April 1st. All of our commuters on a monthly basis, they get a 50% reduction in tolls at the end of each month. You don't have to do anything. All you have is your pass. You go, they click you, and as you get a certain number of clicks, once you reach the threshold where we know you're a commuter, then they just reduce your tolls by 50%. Now, that is something that's a very big deal, especially in parts of Central Florida where there's a lot of tolls and people get hit with these tolls. So that's great. That's been very successful. We did that in 2023. We're now doing it again starting April of 2024, and that'll run for a full year, calendar year, from 2024, April 1st, all the way to the end of March of 2025. And that makes a difference, especially as gas prices prices are going back up, people need relief. So that saves families. Some families are saving hundreds of dollars just on toll relief because of what we've done. But we also, so that's $500 million. Then we have the bill I'm signing today, which is another $1 billion+ in tax relief for Florida families. House Bill 7073 adds to what we've done on toll relief to make the total savings for taxpayers in excess of $1.5 billion. And just to put that in perspective, before I became governor, we never even came close as a state to doing even $1 billion in tax relief. I think the record was probably like $400 million, $500 million. We've done, just since I've been governor, close to $7 billion in tax relief for taxpayers, and that's across a whole range of things. I know we've got a big family here. Last year, one of the things we did, we made permanent elimination of sales tax for all baby items. What, diapers, wipes, strollers, cribs, you name it, no tax if you're raising children in the state of Florida. That's a very good thing. That's very attractive. So here we're doing some new things, but also doing things that have been very successful in years past. So many of you know we typically do these sales tax relief holidays, which are very important for Floridians and for families. So our back to school relief is a 14-day holiday. It allows you to get no tax on many clothing items, school supplies, computers, learning aids, and that's something that really helps a lot of families prepare for school. We also do the disaster preparedness tax holiday. So disaster preparedness supplies for not just families but also for your pets, that is tax-free, so that you can prepare and have a plan. And we always prepare for the worst when it's hurricane season and hope for the best. If you've prepared and we don't get anything, you're not any worse off for it. If you don't prepare and then we get hit, well, then you could be in a situation where it's difficult. We also are doing for the whole month of July our Freedom Month. No tax on recreational items, no tax on things, fishing supplies, boating supplies, athletic equipment, you name it, tax-free for the month of July. That is really, really significant. We want to get people outdoors. We want them to have fun. And oh, by the way, last week I announced for all of Florida state parks, all 4 days of Memorial Day weekend, no entrance fee for Florida residents. You can go and enjoy all of our state parks. We think it's important that people are out there enjoying our great state. We also have our tool time tax holiday for tools used in trades, power tools, tool belts, boxes, things like that. That's September 1st to 7th, and that saved a lot of people a lot of money. And some people are handyman, they're in business in this, but other people just have it around their house, and that's fine. Use it. We really want to do that. So the back to school sales tax holiday will be July 29th to August 11th. Disaster preparedness tax holidays, 14 days in both June and August, which is really, really significant. And of course, the Freedom Month is for the entire month of July, and we really like that. Now, we're also doing, in addition to the sales tax relief, in addition to the toll relief, we're also doing some additional types of relief, and these are not necessarily things we've done every year. Some of this stuff is new. One, we are waiving all taxes on insurance premiums for a full year for homeowners policies and flood insurance policies, and so we're trying to provide relief. And that's in addition, we also did hundreds of millions in this budget, as well as on top of $400+ million we've done over the last 2 years for My Safe Florida Home. People can get grants to match, make home improvements, and they're able to get lower insurance rates as a result of those fortifications and improvements. There's a waiting list for the program, so the legislature put more money in, and so we're going to work through that and hopefully get it to where people who want it are able to benefit from it. Another thing that we're doing, child-focused tax credits. So we are now doubling the state's investment in the Strong Families Tax Credit from $20 million to $40 million. So this provides tax credits to companies that make charitable contributions to child welfare organizations. And we've got a lot of great organizations. The First Lady, through Hope Florida, is working with a lot of these organizations to help serve communities, but particularly to serve mothers with young children, and it's made a big impact. So I think this tax credit will help fortify those efforts. Another great idea is there is now a new tax credit for employers who operate or support a child care program for their employees. So child care has been really, really difficult. It's expensive, and there's not enough options for a lot of parents who are working. So now you can have an employer get a tax credit if they're providing child care on the site, or if they're doing a program where they're helping their employees get the child care that they need. So I think this is very smart. I think it's going to make a difference. We're also doing tax relief for automatic return filing extension for sales tax and corporate income tax in certain emergencies. Kevin may talk a little bit about that. We are also creating a corporate income tax credit for businesses that hire Floridians with disabilities. And so this is 3 years, $5 million a year. And if you look at some companies that have done this, like Publix, they're providing opportunities for all these great people, that have unique abilities and have certain challenges, and these are very productive citizens, and they do a great job. And so now you're going to be able to benefit on this tax program if you're a company that's been willing to do that. But Publix and some other companies have shown this is a really good thing, and it's something that's made a difference in so many families' lives. And then finally, we're limiting the doc stamp tax assessment for reverse mortgages. Do they still have those reverse mortgage commercials? They used to have them on a lot, I know that. But nevertheless, it's important to limit taxes there. So this is a very substantial package. This is something that's going to make a difference for a lot of Floridians. We're excited to be able to do it. Look, the federal government has borrowed, printed, and spent trillions and trillions of dollars, far beyond what they should have done over the last many years. We know that. When they were doing it, there were a lot of people saying, you are going to have inflation. When the Fed was printing so much money, people were saying you're going to have inflation, and that's exactly what's happened. And so that has been an invisible tax on every American. People are paying more for groceries, they're paying more for goods, paying more for services. That's just what happens when you have this type of inflation. Interest rates over 7%. Affording a home today, compared to 5 years ago, your mortgage payments for a similar house are like twice as much on a monthly basis because of the inflation and because of the interest rates. I can guarantee you most people's incomes have not gone up 2 times since then. So it's been very difficult for a lot of people. Now, we don't control the Federal Reserve in Florida. We don't, Lord knows we don't behave like Congress behaves, and we don't control the printing presses up there. So we have to just play the hand we're dealt, given what's happened in Washington. So we've taken a lot of steps over these past 3 years in particular to provide relief for Floridians to help get them through this period of Biden inflation. So I thank the legislature for stepping up. Thank you for what you did. We're going to hear from some other folks before I sign the bill. So we'll start with Kevin Guthrie.
Good morning, everyone. And Governor, as always, thank you for your leadership. You're steadfast in your support of the Florida Division of Emergency Management and emergency managers across the state, and I certainly appreciate that. My name is Kevin Guthrie. I'm the Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. As the Governor has already said, this year's incredible tax relief package includes 2, not 1, but 2 14-day disaster preparedness sales tax holidays. Those dates are from June 1 through 14, and then again August 24th through September 6th, which lines up with the peak weeks of hurricane season. Some examples of the eligible tax-free items include reusable ice at $20 or less, flashlights and lanterns at $40 or less, batteries, fuel tanks, radios costing $50 or less, tarps and ground anchors or tie-down kits costing $100 or less, Coolers, portable power banks costing $60 or less. Smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide detectors costing $70 or less. And one of my personal favorites that we saw an increase this year on is generators costing $3,000 or less. That's up $2,000 from last year's legislation. So again, Governor, thank you, and the legislature, thank you for everything that you're doing for us there on these tax-free holidays. The holidays also include several items related to the safe evacuation of household pets. Do not forget that your pets are a part of your family too. You can find a full list of disaster preparedness supplies included in the two 14 tax-free holidays at floridarevenue.com/disasterprep. Now let me talk about preparedness for just a second. With the 2024 hurricane season right around the corner, right now is the best time to finalize your preparedness plans, identify what you need for your kit, and then take advantage of the tax holiday June 1st through 14 to prepare that kit. We know that there are many, many predictions for a very active hurricane season. I don't want any of you to get focused on that. I want you to get focused on your family and just one. That's all I need you to do. Let my team worry about the big hurricane season, the multiple disasters that may or may not come our way. That's what we're there for. That's what the governor's put me in this position to do. I also want to take a moment and share some key disaster preparedness tips that we at the division promote year-round. Number one, make sure you have ways to receive weather alerts. Make sure you have an app on your phone. Subscribe to your local county, Brevard County. If you live here in this area, they have a local network that identifies you of what is going on in your area. Obviously, the State Division of Emergency Management has it as well. Next, prepare an emergency kit. For a full list of what you should put in your kit, go to floridadisaster.org/kit. Make sure that you have 7 days worth of supplies. We've upped that in the past from 3 days to 7 days. We want you to be able to be self-sufficient for up to 7 days. The third one we want to let you know about is know your home and know your zone. Many times in Florida, especially if you go back to Hurricane Irma, we over-evacuate by millions of people. They do not need to evacuate. So please know your home. If your home in Florida was built after 2004, you're most likely at 115 or 125 mile an hour sustained winds. Therefore, if we have a hurricane that is less than that, you don't need to evacuate. You would only then need to evacuate for water. So look at the storm surge. Know what your evacuation zone is. For you guys that are new to Florida, an evacuation zone is not a flood zone. They are two separate issues. Make sure you know what your evacuation zone is. So again, floridadisaster.org/know. Important records and documents, you're going to want to make sure you have those. Make sure you have your birth and marriage certificates, Social Security cards, passports, wills, deeds, insurance documents in a safe deposit box or in a waterproof location, or better yet, carry them with you when you evacuate. In conclusion, I do want to say thank you, Governor, thank you, Legislature, for everything that you do for the Florida Division of Emergency Management and the Floridians to take necessary preparedness steps. And just before I finish, Governor, I know that you know this, but there has not been a governor. I've been in this job now for 34 years, not with the state, but in public safety for 34 years this October. I've gone through a lot of governors. I worked for 2 governors. There is not a governor that has done more for emergency management and public safety in this state than this gentleman right here. And I'm extremely happy to say that under his leadership and the policies that were enacted on his first day as governor, we've put $10.25 billion back in the hands of local governments to make sure that they're ready for the next storms. Thank you again, Governor. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Florida, we obviously, first, when they say busy, they always say that we don't know. I mean, you just don't know. You got to prepare. And here's the thing. It doesn't even, you could have a busy hurricane season and nothing could hit Florida. You could have a low hurricane season and have one hit us. So it really, whether it's high or low, it's really a question about be prepared. and you never know what's going to come our way. We've had some close calls on the east coast of Florida. They typically tend to bend as they get kind of in this area, knock on wood, but you still got to prepare. You just don't know what's going to happen. And yes, we have to deal with this, but you would not want to have another state looking after you, given what Florida is able to do in response to these. And it's not just us at the state level. It's the sheriff here and his folks. It's your local folks in your emergency management in Brevard and other counties. We've got a lot of great people that are involved in this. That's why you look at something like Hurricane Ian, Category 5, that not only hit Southwest Florida, swept across the entire midsection of the state, millions and millions of people without power, and it was the fastest power restoration in the history of major hurricanes. I can tell you, if that happened in some other states, there would have been people without power for like a month and a half. And instead, most people were within 48 hours, 72 hours, and then when there were some places in Fort Myers that was taking a little long at Cape Coral, we helped surge more people there to get that done. So that's just something that we think is important, and we're happy to do it. Hopefully we don't have to do it this summer, but we'll be prepared. But if you look at like Southwest Florida with Ian, it used to be you get hit with a Category 5, like you're wiped off the map and you never recover. Look, they had a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But I mean, it is booming there. People are investing there. They're doing all this. So these things take time, but there is no question that area is going to be very, very strong for many, many years to come. And that's really what it's all. And I don't think, if we hadn't rebuilt the bridges, if we hadn't have done all those things very quickly, gotten the power back on, who knows what would have ended up happening. So Kevin's done a great job. His team's done a great job. And as I said, hopefully you can have an enjoyable summer without seeing his mug on your TV set. And if we're able to do that, then you're probably going to be okay. I'd also just, we're here at Gators Portside. I want to thank them for hosting us. I mean, they've got really fantastic stuff here. So if you haven't been, it's definitely worth doing. We're here in Cape Canaveral. I know they'd love to see us. So take some time if you're in the area and stop by. Okay, we're going to hear from a couple of our residents. So we'll start with Jacqueline McLaughlin.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Governor. What an honor it is to be here today with the greatest governor, I think, in the country, in the free state of Florida, talking about our favorite thing, tax relief. I'm Jackie McLaughlin. I see a lot of friendly faces out here today. I am been in Brevard County. I've lived in Florida my whole life, but Brevard County since 1992. My husband, who would have normally been here with me, but we have family business, he's working up in Titusville. He was born right here, as were all three of our daughters. I still had two. We went to Titusville High School. I see some Titusville High alumni in the crowd today too, so go Terriers. And we still have two kids currently here in Brevard schools. Our middle, Kate, is dual enrolled, getting I don't like to say debt-free college education at Eastern Florida State College while she's at Titusville High. I still call it BCC because that's what it was when I graduated from there. Our youngest, my little leaguer, is here, and she's not as enthusiastic as, of course, I am to be here. But she is a travel ball, so any travel ball moms out there that travel to the faraway lands of Claremont, thank you for the toll relief, because it is expensive. We don't have tolls here in Brevard County, so to get to the other side of Orlando, the governor's helping make that a lot less expensive. And our oldest daughter and her husband are expecting their first baby in August, so thank you for the baby stuff, tax relief. I'm here today to tell you how I am a diehard fisherman. I am a working mom. My brother, my husband, and I own and operate a second-generation small business here in Brevard. We're a commercial door and window contractor. Commercial and construction specialties up in Titusville that services the Space Coast and surrounding areas. So whether it's at our office or around our kitchen table, like most families and small business owners, we're constantly talking about how to make our dollar stretch. That's why I am so excited every time I see this common sense tax relief that comes from the governor's office, from our legislature, and the list is long and it really touches every corner of my life. parents in here, I can hear the parents in here, know how expensive it is to send our children back to school, to have them active in sports, and that's just our side of it. I'm the daughter of a veteran teacher, 25 years here in Brevard. She's about to retire, and I cannot count how much money out of her pocketbook that she put into her classroom. And even when we didn't really have it, she found a way to make sure that we had the tools, not just my brother and I, but her students had the resources they needed to be successful in the classroom. So the continuance of the back to school holiday, it doesn't just affect my pocketbook as a mom, it's crucial to our teachers' wallets. It's so wonderful to see that, because they don't just pour their hearts into teaching, they pour their wallets into their classrooms. Growing up, when my mom was a first-year teacher, my dad decided to start his own business. We didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't go on expensive vacations. We spent our summers at the beach because it was free. Surfing and fishing and camping all summer, all day, every day. We went fishing. We camped here at Jetty Park in an old tent just so that we could wake up on the beach, and went places that were either free or very affordable, like Dollar Theater. Remember the Dollar movies that were second-run movies we went to? So thank you for relieving the tax on that. You know, thankfully, my dad didn't only pass on his love of the outdoors to us, he persevered through the hardships of owning a small business. Now I'm proud to say that he's passed down the skills of a tradesman to my brother and I, and that we've worked together growing our little company our father founded so many years ago. We've worked hard, we've grown organically, and we pinch pennies wherever we're able to so that we can continue to grow and continue to hire and continue to train the next generation of tradesmen. So all of this tax relief that we get in the form of the tolls when our vans are on the roads, it all ends up going back into our business and into our community. And unfortunately, under Bidenomics, that's getting a lot harder for Americans to do. Literally everything is more expensive. The tools, the PPE gear, fuel, everything. We service a lot of Central Florida, so our vans drive under those toll booths quite often. But thankfully, the governor and our legislators here recognize the nickel and diming. They're smart, they're paying attention, and they're listening to Florida families, to the things that matter the most to us. He's made sure that we can get relief on the toll roads. He's passed relief on hurricane preparedness, the tool tax holidays. My guys used to buy work boots. So at the end of the day, all those pennies, pinching the dollars, they all add up, and it means that our hard-earned dollars stay in our pockets. I could go on and on of the list of the ways that the governor is working for Florida, but I'll wrap it up with thank you. Thank you for working for us. Thank you for listening to us and looking out for us. Thank you for the tax relief, for keeping Florida families safe and strong. God bless you, your family, and may God continue to bless this great state of Florida.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis. Thank you, Sheriff Wayne Ivey, my boss. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to work for the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. Honor to represent families, big and small, all across Florida. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you how my very large family is going to directly benefit from the Freedom Sales Tax holiday this summer. So, as you know, my family, we're a big family. We're taking about 2 rows over there. I've been married for 21 years to my incredible wife, Laura, and the Lord has blessed us with our 10 beautiful children. Yeah. One of them is particularly loud right now, but that's okay. So we've lived in different places, but we have spent most of our time, our marriage, living right here in Florida. So Florida means so much to us. We're a big family, and we own a small business. We own and operate Full Armor Krav Maga, which is a self-defense school located in Melbourne, Florida. When we're out and about, you can imagine the reactions we get, especially all of our kids trailing along with us. The reactions from people, the big wide eyes, the mouths and jaws drop to the floor. And we get asked all the time, how do you do it? How do you make this happen? How do you manage such a big family? I work for the sheriff, so robbing the bank is just not an option. But really it comes to two important things. Quality time, the time we spend together as a family, growing and strengthening that family bond, and raising our children with a strong value system. So enjoying quality time, how do we do that? For us, we love to be outside. We love the outdoors. We love camping, we love fishing, and you can imagine the cost that comes with those type of activities with a family our size. We love traveling across the state and visiting all the state parks. And we especially love swimming in the beautiful freshwater Florida Springs. But that means a lot of inner tubes. And I gotta tell you something, every one of my kids need their own inner tube. If you're traveling across the state, we talked about tolls. And so we are grateful for the governor's toll relief package. That's going to help our family save a lot of money. And now we can use that money towards other things like buying a lot more inner tubes. All these things we enjoy, and with the sales tax holiday, it's going to make our summer that much more affordable. So we are so grateful for that. Quality time, number one. Number two, raising a family with a strong value system. And one way we do that is homeschooling, education. We can reinforce the values that we want to teach to our children. That's important to us. But if you do that right, and if you do that with excellence, it comes with a really big price tag. So we are grateful for the sales tax holiday, the back-to-school savings that our family is going to receive when we purchase things like educational materials, resources, puzzles, when we purchase clothing, all those things that enrich our children's education. We're grateful for that. As a middle-class family, raising 10 children, being frugal is a necessity. And especially now in the times we live in, when you have crazy high inflation, when the economy is really hurting us right now. It's at that time that we look at the tax relief that the governor is initiating and creating for us. And now, we're using the Freedom Sales Tax holiday. Our family and other families all across Florida can start to do the things we want to do this summer to build those precious memories that strengthen our family. And we're grateful for it. And now, here we are, and we can have a summer that our family is going to remember forever. And so we thank you, Governor, and we appreciate it. God bless you all.
Well, thanks for that. We're excited to be able to sign this into law, and we're really thankful to be here, in Brevard. This is a great place to live. I mean, this is a great quality of life. You're going to be safe when you have Wayne Ivey as the sheriff, and I know we've had a lot of good folks here, really involved in education, a lot of other stuff. So good on Brevard for that. So anyone that's going to participate in the bill signing, you can come up and stand behind here, and we'll make it official. So come on up if you're participating.
We love doing that. It allows me to get earlier with us. It really allows us to get out there and really.
Now today is the 6th of May? 7th? 7th. Nobody else? Okay. You want one? Who else? Okay. Here, pass it down. I got one more. All right. Let's go. Any other kids in the gallery? You look good enough. Okay. There you go. Anyone else?
We'll give one to
Here we go. There it is. All right. Good job, guys. Thanks so much.
Hey, next time you come to the bar, let's go fishing.
I know. We should. We should.
Safe travels, Governor.
Yep.
Thank you, Governor.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Of course. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Well, we were able to hand out the non-permanent markers for the kids. We learned our lesson on that years ago. And if you're keeping track of 10 kids at home, I think the last thing you want to have to worry about is Sharpie all over the walls of the house or all over them. But I will say, if you have any advice on helping with a very testy 4-year-old, my wife and I would love that, because we've got a lot going on, even with 3 in our household. So this is great tax relief. We're going through the budget. We're going to be able to sign the budget probably in the not too distant future. And I think it's going to, we've highlighted a lot, we'll highlight more, but this is really as good as it gets in terms of how government's supposed to and spending in states like New York and Illinois like you wouldn't believe, and the citizens are getting hosed as a result of that. We're standing for taxpayers and we're doing it right. So thanks for everyone that's been involved. All right, got any questions? Does anyone have any questions? So I have no plans to call a special session. You know, I've been asked, would you do more immigration? Of course I'll do more immigration. Would you do this? Of course I will. Whether that's a special session or not, but I am for some of the things that people have been talking about, but we don't have a plan necessarily to do a special session. You know, if there are things that we need to do, then I'm sure that the legislature will want to do it. But as of now, we're moving forward with the budget. Well, you can say what you want. You can have your beliefs. You can even protest within normal limits, but you can't commandeer property that doesn't belong to you. You cannot disrupt the operations of a university, and you can't weaponize your protest to attack other people. So if they're just simply protesting, that's one thing. I don't know what all went on there, but they should not be able to camp out on university lawns. I know they tried to do that at UF and FSU, and they got escorted out very quickly. That's what should happen at Florida universities. The inmates do not get to run the asylum here. Thanks, guys. See you later.